Hi guys, hope you're well. It's been a while, just wanted to kind of touch base. It's primarily for my American friends out there. I know you guys have a pretty big election coming up. And in terms of my thoughts on it, don't really have a dog in the race. In terms of what I've seen, I do like some of the stuff that RFK has been talking about in terms of health and getting to the root cause of things around COVID. He wrote a book on Fauci, which I read, which is just mind-boggling and eye-opening. I do like the fact that he plans to take, a lot of the pharmaceutical companies to court, which I think is a great start. As you guys have been following me for a while now, you'll see that, from day one, I was very kind of pro-natural medicine and kind of very much anti, pharmaceuticals as a resolution for chronic illness. I believe that's the wrong route to go down. And from all accounts, from what RFK has been talking about and the kind of rhetoric that he's been coming up with, I really believe that, if he does get into power, I think his exposure around kind of big food and big pharma and how they kind of work lockstep to kind of keep the American population sick, I think that's going to be eye-opening. I think that'll be good for the country. Regardless of all the other stuff around Trump and Kamala, etc., right? I'm just talking more from the health perspective. I think that is, he's speaking my language, and I think you guys, you kind of know that, and you know where I'm coming from on that. But let's see what happens, right? The pharmaceutical companies have a massive influence in both parties, right? And if you talk about the media, if you switch on, any channel from kind of CNN to Fox, doesn't matter which side, right? You'll see that, one of every third advert is a pharmaceutical advert, right? And it's not because people actually buy pharmaceutical medications from these adverts, because you'd be mental to, right? Like when you have a pharmaceutical company doing an advert for one of their medications, right? Like at the end, there's about 30, 40 different side effects, right? Including like cancer, death, etc. Like if you want to actually get yourself prescribed any of these medications based on those adverts, like your issue is something else. Like I really don't understand how people fall for that. And I don't think they do. I think it's more about influence, because a lot of these networks have, funding primarily from these kind of large, I think pharmaceutical companies make up the majority of funding for these media companies. So what they do is they have adverts on, and then in exchange, they get biased and they get influenced. So these media companies will never ever take them to court for, opioid crisis or vaccines or any kind of lawsuits, etc. So they're basically just buying influence. And I think people are kind of waking up to that. So in terms of kind of buying influence as well, I mean, RFK talks about this kind of, for you guys who have Visual Snow, and my thoughts about the Visual Snow initiative, I've done some videos on that. I see that they're doing a lot of stuff recently, and I see that they're trying to get, Visual Snow into the manual so that they can prescribe medications for it and get lots of funding for it, government funding. This is how diseases work, right? You get almost like a little investment group. You have somebody who's the front of the organization, and you get a few scientists working in the background, just doing pointless, exercises, not really interested in actually curing anything, right? Heck, if they were interested in curing anything, they would have actually come to me and started speaking to me. I haven't received any contact from Visual Snow, even though I cured myself of Visual Snow, and I've been curing my clients of Visual Snow and all other related symptoms, as well as, other autoimmune disorders and other things as well. I mean, it's that silence kind of speaks a lot to me, and I just find it frustrating that people still have to go through that avenue and then realize there's nothing at the end of the road. There's no pot of gold at the end of that road, apart from them, who, they're having a lot of funding from various different sources, because as I said, once you're able to classify something as a disease, you're able to get some funding for it. And where's that funding going? Yeah, I'm sure some of it's going to the scientists, but I'm not going to be careful what I say here, but I'll let you guys fill in the dots, right? This is more like a corporation than in the interests of the people that they're trying to help. And I see that. And that happens in a variety of different illnesses. If you look at cancer research, if you look at autism, right? Let's take autism or cancer research for an example, right? They've been pumping millions and billions into those diseases for the last 20, 30 years, okay? Autism has gone from 1 in 1,000 kids, I think, in the US to now 1 in 34 children has autism, okay? Explain that to me, right? How is it by pumping all this money into these research organizations, all these scientists doing all these tests, right? All the visibility, all the donations, all that kind of stuff, yet we're seeing a pandemic in diseases and cancer in young people as well, right? Do you think, logically, do you think these people have an interest in actually resolving any of these illnesses? Or do you think they have an interest in just making money, right? You remember the different parties that are involved here. You've got the scientists, you've got the studies that are paid for usually by the FDA, which works lockstep in barrel with the pharmaceutical companies. And then you have doctors getting paid who prescribe medicine, right? Medicine is pills. It's not real medicine, okay? That's why they call it, I'm going to go study medicine, because it's not about really helping people with their health. It's about prescribing medicine, working with pharmaceutical companies, going to universities that are sponsored by these pharmaceutical companies. Okay, so if you look at all of those things, you'll realize that, you know, there's no interest in actually helping people get healthy. You know, RFK talks a lot about this. You know, he's written books on this, and people are waking up. I think, you know, after COVID, I think it was a big awakening for a lot of people. And, you know, just that whole event has opened people's minds to